Well, tell me how things are going. Tell some things about the current situation in the band.
Okay. Yeah, we've just been playing songs, playing shows in the U.S. I believe we have a show so far in Europe, in the UK next year. We've been writing songs, hoping to get new music out next year, early next year, hopefully. And so that's it. We're just staying busy, playing shows, having fun.
Will you have shows in Europe?
Yeah, they are working on that now. I'm not sure if there's anything in Greece or whatever, but I know that they're working on shows around the festival that we're doing in the UK in March. So we're hoping to get over there.
Do you want to tell me about Mitch? Has he adapted to the band's requirements?
Yeah, we recorded an album in 2017 with Michael Wagner producing in Nashville. And there was a couple parts in a couple songs where we wanted like a gang shout from lots of people. So Michael Wagner knows lots of people from lots of bands. So about 20 people came down and to do this shout part, and guys from Pat Travers, Hailstorm, there was a lot of bands, and Mitch Malloy was in that group. And so that's the first time I've ever seen him. And I'm not sure if we spoke at all at that time. I think we might have said hi, maybe. And then the next time I saw him was on the Monsters of Rock cruise. He came on stage with us during Once Bitten, Twice Shy. And then one morning, I was on my phone and I saw a story about Mitch being in Van Halen. And that was interested me because I kind of grew up as a young teenager. Van Halen was a local band. And I'd never heard about Mitch playing with them. So I saw the documentary. It was about 15 minutes long. And I guess he was in the band for a couple months. It ended up not working out. But they loved Mitch, and he was like actually in the band for a little bit. So I hadn't heard of Mitch before, but I heard him do Panama, which is a Van Halen song. I thought it sounded good. And so I found out then he had this big solo career and had done, like a lot of records. So I listened to his voice and I really liked it. So I called my keyboard player, Mike Gilardi. He told me that he had been looking into Mitch, but he never said anything to me. So I go, well, I really like him, and I think we should send him music and see what he sounds like with our music. So we sent him music with no vocals on it, and he had a studio, so he put vocals on a few of our songs, and he sent it back, and we really liked it. It sounded really good to us. So he came out and played with us, rehearsed for 3 days, and we really liked him. So that was more than a year ago, and it's been going great. The fans love him. He really puts on a good show, and he sings great every night.
I want to ask you about your fans. How people reacted at Mitch coming?
They love Mitch, and it's funny because girls are coming around the band now. And the other day we were leaving a show in a van, and this girl came running up to the van, and she came, and I was in the front seat, and I mean, I've been in the band more than 30 years, and so I'm ready to sign an autograph or take a picture or whatever. And she goes, "Where's the singer? I want to take a picture with him." So, it's funny. You can see their faces out there. Everyone's smiling, and Mitch he puts on a really, really good show. He's a natural front man. He engages the crowd. He talks to them, and in a real natural way. But he puts forth a lot of energy as well. So the fans have really been accepting, and it's going great.
Mark, you told me before about that you are writing new songs, and you hope that the next year you will have a new album. Is there anything you would like to share with us?
We only have ideas, but I did kind of finish a song. Mitch lives in Florida, and he was living in Nashville, and I live in Los Angeles, so we can't just get together every day and rehearse and stuff. So I sent him a song I had that I had put together, and I went in the studio and just recorded it very quickly. It wasn't a huge production or anything. And I sent it to Mitch, and I'd never done that before. Usually when I work with a singer, I will show them, my ideas for the vocal, and then they can change it or do it their way or whatever. But I've never just handed someone music and had them, sing on the music without me saying anything. So it's the first time I did that. And Mitch came back with a total song, and vocals done, big nice chorus, beautiful song, and it was almost like breaking the ice with Mitch because I hadn't written with him before. But he's a songwriter, so I guess it comes natural to him. He can just listen to music and come up with things. So that was really nice. The other stuff that we have is mostly like in the idea stages. We're kind of writing on our own. We haven't got together. That's usually what we do. We're pretty much old school. Like when we're going to do a record, the band all gets together, and we share ideas and, put the songs together that way when we're all in a room, when we're all together. So right now we're just in the idea stages, like we're sharing our ideas and, but that one song that Mitch finished was pretty amazing. It was really a relief for me to hear that he's capable of that.
I see. Okay, Mark. After all these years and all the difficulties you've been through, the band is still here. What do you say about it?
Yeah, I'm really super proud of our history. So that's all good. For some reason, bass players have always, like, something's gone wrong over the years, and I don't really know why. But we're grateful for all our songs from the past, and we just keep moving forward. I think what keeps us around is we really get excited to make new music, and that's part of what gives us energy and keeps us motivated is to keep being creative. We have a new singer. It's working out great, and we're just excited for the future.
How do you imagine the band from now on?
Well, we all feel pretty healthy. I've been taking Pilates, and it's really helped. Pilates is a very good exercise, and I do a couple classes a week, and it's a lot of stretching and strengthening, and it gives you a good energy to exercise. It's almost like yoga in a way, but it's there's a lot of strengthening your muscles and a lot of stretching, and for the most part, the band's pretty healthy. So I see us going on for a few more years. We just played with REO Speedwagon the other day, and they're they're about 10 years older than we are, and they're still going pretty strong. So that kind of gives us hope. But we all take care of ourselves. Everybody's sober. Nobody takes drugs or drinks or smokes cigarettes. So we're hoping that we're still doing it in a few years.
You had bad memories from this situation. Do you believe that all these things in the past had a bad effect at the band?
Yeah. I actually, when I'm not playing, I work with alcoholic addicts, and I worked with a lot of people. So I'm real familiar with it. Some people are able to get sober, and some just struggle. Addiction's very powerful. So I just offer my sober friendship and encouragement, and try to be supportive, to people that are suffering and struggling with addiction. I can help people that really want to be sober. So I don't take it personally when somebody is having a hard time getting sober, because I know addiction, it can be overpowering. So I share in hopes and how I did it, and then hopefully they can find it. As far as Jack goes, like I said, I'm real proud. We're always been friends. Nothing. I don't even think we got in an argument our entire career. He had demons. He had addiction issues that he had to deal with, and so he went off and did his own thing. So I'm hopeful that he's doing good, and we've just kind of moved on, and we're doing what we do.
Yes, sure.
Everybody seems happy.
If you could go back in time, would you change anything?
Well, one thing that I probably, but again, every time I try to change something, it's like I wouldn't have learned from it, so it's kind of hard to go back and change something. But one thing I might have done or I wish I would have done is just quit drinking. Like in 91, when I first started to quit, I would quit for 2 years, but I wanted to be able to do it like a normal person. So I kept trying to drink like a normal person, and it just never worked. I just kept failing over and over. So I wish I would have just not even tried to drink like a normal person, and just stayed sober, because it was it was a lost cause for me to try to drink like regular people. So, but I had a lot of sobriety time just in sections. Like I would go 2 years, and then a year and a half, and I went on like that for like 15 years. But I did get sober in 2008, so I have almost 11 years. But if I could go back and change something, it would probably be that. Just get sober when I was a younger man. I was a beer drinker. You know, that's pretty much all. I know it sounds funny almost. It sounds like it's real low on the food chain of alcohol.
It's a kind of difficult. But, I mean, you need a lot of beers.
Yeah, but I just drank a lot of beers, exactly. And so even though I didn't roll out of bed and just drink whiskey or something, I still drank tons of beer, and it was I still got pain like anybody else, and it just gets in the way of you know, your life and just makes things difficult. And so I'm glad to be a sober man today. I learned the hard way, but nothing really bad happened, and I was still able to be creative. But I think things, if I been more focused, I probably could have. It just would have been better to not. When you're drinking, and I call it. It's almost like I'm not even really trying to get drunk. I just don't want to feel bad. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I would drink just to be normal. I just didn't want to feel bad. It wasn't like I wanted to, be drunk all the time. I just didn't want to feel bad. So it became like I was chasing normal all the time. And it was just a lot of work, and it was unnecessary. And so if I could change something, it would be that, probably, for sure.
Mark, I really want to thank you for sharing that with us, because there are many people with the same problem, and they want to hear these things from someone who has the same feelings.
Yeah, well, thank you. I reached out on Facebook 8 years ago, and instead of me, like talking about the band or something great I did, or I just thought, I wondered what would happen if I, just offered my sober friendship, and just, so I made a post that just said, if there's anybody out there struggling with addiction, I'm available always to be your sober friend and be supportive. And since then, I've worked with almost 120 people one-on-one. I send them daily prayers and meditation, and I've seen a lot of success. I've seen one guy actually went from patient in a rehab to counselor in 5 years. So I've, seen a lot of things like that happen, and a lot of miracles. And it's a great feeling to see somebody that's sick get well, and also see the transition in their life, and even physical appearances change. They look really good. And I just think, when you're a problem drinker, it's a struggle, and it makes life difficult. And if you can get away from it, just one day at a time, just try not to drink one day at a time, it can change your life and make it more enjoyable. It's a better life. That's for sure.
Yes, for sure. And that's wonderful, because I really like the way you talk to people about that. Would you like to mention some special moments in your career?
Special moments as in just things with the band, or like a moment like
whatever
that?
Whatever you want.
Well, I would say one of the craziest moments that ever happened, if you're talking about that type thing, would be that one time we were playing in Illinois in the USA, and someone just fell on the stage from way up high. They were up on the lighting truss. It was some girl she was on drugs, I guess, and was hanging up there, and we didn't see it. She just came flying onto the stage from like 40 feet in the air. Oh. So that was quite, kind of like somebody dropping in without letting you know. So that was pretty crazy. One of the most exciting moments from the band was when we played in our hometown at the arena called the Forum, because it was a teenage dream of ours to play there. It's where Led Zeppelin would play when they came through, or, you know, another really big band would play. So when you're a teenager, you dream about that, you know. It's just a dream. And so when we played there and had all our parents there and all our friends from when we were kids, it was special. And, you know, and then the record company brought platinum records on the stage and everything. So it was just a surreal moment, and probably one of the most, I guess, exciting moments, you know, because my mom and dad were there, and my mother and father were real supportive of me my whole life. Like, no matter what I did, they always were supportive. And so, you know, to be able to share that night with them was, you know, real special.
I really appreciate the fact that you've never changed your music style. However,
Yeah.
did you ever consider to do this? I don't know, for more sales maybe, or something?
I think the reason that we've never changed our style is, you know, we just always stayed true to ourselves, you know what I mean? And my influences are part of the reason I play the way I do. So I've just never strayed away from that, and neither has the band. So we're just kind of old school, you know. If something, you know, becomes popular, we're not going to try to sound like that, because I think, for one thing, we wouldn't be true to ourselves, and the other thing, it would probably confuse our fans. You know, if all of a sudden we became a death metal band, people would go, "What the heck is going on?" You know,
For sure.
and so. Yeah, I think that's it. You know, we just stay true to ourselves, and I think when you're honest with your music, the fans they know that you're being honest with your music. I think if we became like heavy metal or something else, I think it would be upsetting to people that have been loyal to us as far as being our fans.
And there are many of them. After all these years, there are so many people still like and follow Great White.
Yeah, we're really grateful for that. That we've seen like different generations of fans, you know, younger people like in their 20s that really like the music. And I've told the story before, but I was in Sweden and we were playing this festival with, like, you know, Accept and just a lot of bands from Europe and stuff. And I smoked cigarettes. I haven't smoked for 7 years, but I smoked cigarettes then. So I went out in front of the hotel, and there must have been 30 kids. Well, I call them kids. They were probably in their early 20s. And they were dressed exactly how I used to dress in 1986.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so I'm going, it gave me the greatest feeling that they discovered our music and liked it. You know what I mean? And I don't know, there's just something really cool about that. My kids, you know, well, my son's like 28, and, you know, he brought 3 of his friends down to our show when we played here in where I live in California, and they're telling him that your dad shreds and all this stuff, and I'm going, man, you know, I don't know. There's something about it when, you know, your own kids think you're cool and, you know, they like your music, because I didn't really care for my parents' music because it was so different from what I listened to. You know,
Yes, but
I listened to the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and that when I was a little kid, and they were listening to something way different.
but you've learned many things of them.
Yeah, my dad was a jazz trumpet player, and my mother was a singer, and so I was around music since I was a real little boy, and I would sit and listen. You know, there was some of the music I could sing along, like a song called "The Girl from Ipanema." You know, the bun da 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 da. You know, the gift. I used to love that, and anything that had melody to that was a pretty melody or something, I just loved it. I used to sing along and just sit there and just I loved it, So
Do you like any new band?
yeah, well, Michael Lardy, who's been in the band since 1985, we've written most of the music for Great White. I mean, so not really a lot has changed, and even the drummer's been in the band for 35 years plus. So, together us three have been in the band for over 100 years. So, I'm pretty familiar with most of the guys in my band. As far as what I listen to today, have I listened to checked out any new bands? One of the bands that we played with not too long ago, I really liked, because they're kind of old school in the sense they don't use, auto-tune or like tapes, and they just kind of go out and play, and they're called Greta Van Fleet. They're a new band. They're kind of young kids. They've been compared a little bit to Led Zeppelin and, whatever, but I kind of like them as far as new bands. Yeah, so that's one of the new ones that I've heard that I kind of like, because they reminded me of kind of how, as far as my band, we started it in the garage, playing, and we weren't very good, and so we kept plugging away. We kept playing, and started to get a little better, and so they kind of reminded me of that, like a band that probably started out, they weren't so good, and they got better, and that's kind of why I liked them, because I saw a lot of I'm really a fan of the human element in music. When people make music without the aid of pitch correcting or auto tune or anything like that, like just people just plug into their amps and grab a microphone and sing, and the drummer plays. And that's it. You know what I mean? And you make music. That's what I love. I love that.
Would you like to say something to your Greek fans?
Yes. Just thank you to all the fans out there for being so loyal and being a part of our music, growing up with us and sharing your stories with us. We are fans ourselves. Not only of you guys, but of, we grew up loving different music, and we have special songs that take us to, different points in time. And for you guys and the fans out there, for our music to be a part of your lives is like the greatest feeling in the world for us, and we're very grateful for that. So thank you for your loyalty and being the best fans in the world.
Thank you too, Mark. I would like to ask you if you want to tell something about us, something like, hello, I'm Mark Kendall, and you are listening to Black Velvet Radio, something like that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, this is Mark Kendall from Great White, and you're listening to Black Velvet Radio.
Perfect. Mark, thank you very much. It was a great interview, and thank you for all these things you share with us.
Thank you very much. It was very nice to talk with you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.